The latest 3.0 update is absolutely game-changing, and in this video, I am going to show you how strong some of the characters have become. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Dislight. Ever since it got released, I have been playing this game daily, and you guys saw me talking about it a bunch of times already. Well, I'm excited to tell you that the game is now getting one of the coolest new characters, Zeus. So, people who live in the world of Dislight gain transformative powers through something called miracles, and it just so happens Zeus was the first one to obtain them, who then formed the legendary Esper Union, and in this update, he believes he might just solve the mystery of the miracles. Now, Zeus is an insane DPS Esper who can switch between his normal state or become a god king and wipe everyone with a super powerful ultimate attack. Nobody else can do this, and I'm very excited to try him out. Dislight is a trendy, futuristic mythology RPG, and the thing I love most about it is the music, which combines different genres like EDM and rock. It's very easy to vibe with this game while doing daily tasks. And right now, Zeus is on a featured banner, so you know it, I know it, there's only a limited time for a higher chance to ensure that Almighty Zeus awakens. So make sure to use my link in the description to download Dislight, and to help you out, use code Esper Union for awesome gifts, or if you already have the game installed, use code Nice to See You, but make sure to open the game from my link in the description. As always guys, you will help support my channel by using my link, so check out Dislight now. So after almost 2 years of waiting since the game's launch, the time has finally come for Keqing to show off her insane damage. Like seriously, if this doesn't help her become popular, I don't know what will. So what happened? Well, the new Dendro element reaction Quicken basically will amplify either Electro or Dendro elemental damage as a sub-reaction, and while this could seem like a nice buff for these elements, some characters like Keqing completely capitalized on it, and she can now compete with some of the strongest damage dealers in the game. And the reason why she's so good in Quicken teams is all thanks to her Electro application. You see, when a target becomes quickened, you can just keep attacking it with Electro to cause aggravates and increase the damage, so it's all just a matter of how many times you can trigger the reactions when you swap to a character and unload their entire kit. And in Keqing's case, she can cause about 7 to 8 aggravates in a very short amount of time. That's a lot, even if most of her entire kit is still affected by the usual ICD, meaning she won't cause a reaction with every single Electro attack. Now in the past, she usually was paired with Pyro teammates, which kind of worked against her because she would cause overloads and knock enemies far away unless they were immovable. But now in Quicken teams, this is no longer a problem. Everyone just stands there happily and takes the beating from this Electro Queen. Also, Thundering Fury got updated, and it now increases aggravate damage even further. And on top of this, since the 4 set also reduces the skill's cooldown when you cause Electro-related reactions, you can do a cool rotation, like use your skill to place the stiletto, quickly activate the burst, press the skill again to teleport and deal damage, and by this point, only about a second should be left before you can just reuse your skill once more and cause a guaranteed aggravate. Obviously, she still has that problem with draining the stamina bar with her charge attacks. However, you can instead use her normal infused attacks and still cause aggravates, which helps partially solve this problem, especially against single targets. Oh, and if you're wondering, since Quicken, or should I say aggravate reaction, can be boosted further with elemental mastery, having about 200 or 300 is already good enough. But in reality, because all of Keqing's damage multipliers are so low, EM is really good, although things like critical damage and other damage bonuses can also increase aggravate numbers. So again, this is why she became so insanely good. Quicken can literally fix some characters' damage performance if they have good elemental application, and Keqing is definitely one of them, who benefited a lot from this new reaction and transformed her into a new powerful unit. It's probably crazy just to say this out loud, but the Traveler has actually become a meta unit, and that's kind of amazing because everyone can enjoy the new powerful reactions. And I mean, let's be honest, not many people use the Traveler, even if the Geo version was pretty good. While Electro was somewhat decent but had its own set of drawbacks, however, this new Dendro version is on a whole new level. So, what's so great about Dendro Traveler? Well, in all honesty, the damage multipliers are pretty bad, even if you can make his burst explode for quite a lot of damage. However, that's not what you want to do. You see, while the skill is just a simple elemental attack in a small fan shape, the burst will consistently apply Dendro, and the deployed Lotus can also absorb one of the elements, like Electro, which can increase the Lotus attack speed, or Hydro to make the Lotus a wee bigger and better. These are the main two ways how you want to upgrade his deployed burst, because while, as I said, you can make the Lotus explode with Pyro application, this isn't something that's worth doing because the most valuable thing about the Traveler is the off-field Dendro application. So if you you're using someone like Benny Boy, make sure to use his burst first before deploying the Lotus. The other great thing about this new Traveler is the first passive, which essentially builds up over time and will provide the team with 60 elemental mastery after 10 seconds have passed, as long as you stand inside the field. However, the 4th constellation immediately kickstarts with 5 stacks or 30 EM, so just 5 seconds to wait and everyone can enjoy the full EM boost. Speaking of which, I have unlocked the 2nd constellation, which increases the burst duration by 3 seconds, making it now last 15 seconds total. That's a lot of time if I'm being honest, and it helps so much in realizing so many great Dendro teams. His final constellation will also increase Dendro damage by 12%, and depending on which element gets absorbed by the Lotus, that element also gets boosted by 12%. So all in all, Dendro Traveler right now can be used as an excellent off-field Dendro unit, which enables both Quicken and Bloom teams. Now, I have heard some people saying that the Traveler will probably get outperformed by a new better Dendro character, and I mean, sure, that's a very likely scenario, but at the same time, this is a perfectly good and free unit you'll always be able to use with Dendro reactions. If you've been watching a lot of content about 3.0, you've probably noticed Fischl being used in almost every Dendro team. Well, that's no coincidence. She is basically now almost on the same power level as Xingqiu or Benny Boy, meaning a lot of team comps are going to use her as an essential unit to enable the Dendro reactions. And the thing is, she was already an amazing electro applicator and energy generator, but now, thanks to her 2nd passive talent, anybody, including herself, if they cause an electro-related reaction while Oz is deployed, an additional electro hit occurs, which can also cause reactions such as Quicken. So as you can imagine, the amount of electro applications, damage, and reactions Fischl can cause is pretty insane. Most if not every single Quicken team depends on her so much because of how good she is. Now, there is a small drawback to using her in Hyper Bloom teams because Oz won't always hit the Dendro cores on the ground, so using an additional electro character with good AoE is preferable. Although in teams like Quick Bloom, where you use Dendro, Electro, Hydro, and Anemo, she still pulls her weight and makes the team shine. And obviously, because she causes so many aggravates with her 2nd passive and skill, Elemental Mastery now is really good on her. But so are the usual things that increase aggravate, like critical damage or other damage bonuses, such as Stringless, which increases burst and skill damage by 48% when fully refined. This is an insane damage boost for aggravate, and this weapon skyrockets Fischl's potential. All in all, I think it's safe to say that Fischl is basically the face of Quicken. You'd be losing out on so much if you don't include her at least in Quicken teams, because she provides so much value in this new 3.0 update. It's almost become a running joke by now that when something gets buffed in Genshin, Anemo almost always gets buffed in some way as well, and this Maple Samurai boy has become even more powerful than ever. So I've been talking about Quicken a lot, but get this, Anemo can also cause aggravate reactions, as long as 2 enemies are standing next to each other. Now it doesn't work if the enemies are simply quickened and you swirl on them, because as you can see here, only Anemo damage shows up. However, Quicken can coexist with Electro Aura, so now if you swirl enemies together, that Electro Aura gets transferred to neighboring Quicken target, and a lot of aggravates will occur. What this essentially means is that someone like Kazuha got an insane damage boost when swirling Quicken targets with Electro Aura, and this will happen so consistently if you use someone like Fischl or Yaimiko as a teammate, so more or less, Kazuha got a really big damage boost. And more importantly, while this may not be relatable much, his 2nd constellation also got so much stronger, since aggravate damage can be increased with EM, so getting 200 from Kazuha is invaluable, not just for him to deal better aggravate and swirl damage, but also for other Electro or Dendro teammates. And to be honest, it's not just Kazuha who got boosted by this Quicken reaction. Sucrose, Venti, Heizo can also benefit from this, although if we take a look at Sucrose, the way she can interact with aggravate also means weapons like Hakushin Ring just became more valuable to her, and I will definitely fully refine this weapon, because you guessed it, it can increase everyone's aggravate damage by so much, it's not even funny. Anyway, if you're building Quicken teams, using Anemo units like Kazuha or Sucrose is a no-brainer choice. Not only can they cause aggravate themselves if there are multiple enemies, but the way they boost elemental mastery, reduce enemies' electro resistance with VV Shred, and can even add more boosts through weapons or constellations. I mean, they're just too good to be ignored. Now, almost for the whole video, I've been praising Quicken teams, but one character that really stood out for Bloom teams is Kokomi. So, what's awesome about her is that her Jellyfish skill will consistently apply Hydro to enemies, and if you use her skill right after Kale's or Dendro Traveler's burst, this combination will efficiently produce Dendro cores. I mean, at this point, she is the best Hydro unit for Bloom teams. I'm not saying that other Hydro units are bad for Bloom teams because they are actually pretty good, but Kokomi's skill is just so consistent, and it's very easy to cause Hyper Bloom Blooms or even Virgins to some extent. And the best part about this is that you don't have to change anything about her, especially if somebody will cause a sub-reaction with the Dendro core, so just using her regular artifact sets and weapons is good enough, meaning you don't need to invest any more resources or make any changes. Although if you do build teams where she's the one triggering blooms, giving her elemental mastery will be a good choice, but I think right now she's best utilized as her regular old self. Just let her provide the important utility of producing Dendro cores, and trigger either Hyper Bloom or Burgeon with someone else who has built elemental mastery on them. Either way, Kokomi in many Bloom teams is a super comfy character to use, and it's great to see her branch out from Freeze teams. Now, it wouldn't be fair to end this video with just these 5 characters I've showcased, because truth be told, a lot of units, especially Electro, have been buffed. For example, Kuki Shinobu with Elemental Mastery build can trigger Hyper Blooms very consistently, so as a healer and Hyper Bloom damage dealer, she's now so much better than before. On the same note, Yaimiko's totems can deal impressive aggravate damage, and her burst has no ICD, so it's basically free damage increase, especially considering that if you build EM on her, her passive talent also increases her skill damage. So the new Gilded Dreams artifact set is really good on her. And even Raiden, who's already a top unit, her elemental skill damage was considered to be very low, but now with Quicken, well, that's no longer the case, as you can see for yourself. And there's many more, like Lisa, who is just great for Quicken teams. Then there's a niche but weirdly strong comp with Razor that utilizes both Bloom and Quicken. Honestly, there's a lot to cover, and if you'd like to see a second video of me talking more about these units affected by the Dendro reactions, let me know in the comments. Also, I kinda forgot to talk about it, but Toma in Burgeon is also pretty decent, and almost every single Hydro character can work as a great alternative instead of Kokomi when you need to produce some Bloom reactions. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, you can help my channel out by subscribing to it, and don't forget to leave a like on the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.